Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Welcome, everybody from the Giver Marketing Network. All of those out there who want to learn more about marketing, communications, and media. Kingdom Warriors University, shout out. Just want to welcome you to the special broadcast where you're going to experience two Tims, a Salmonson and a Morgan. But our guest today is Tim Salmonson, and we just want to thank you in advance for sharing with us about the transformation story and how that can really grab and attract the right audience and how this actually works and kind of the pieces of that story and how you can craft it so that it just is very genuine, authentic, full of purpose. We're excited to dig in. I was learning just a few minutes ago in our conversations and several meetings before and sessions that you've given me personally. And so I'm just really super excited and looking forward to learning more from you today. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Tim, are you ready to rock today? Are you getting all excited as well?
I am. I'm as ready as I'll ever be, I think.
Well, hey, but for those of you, for those in the audience that don't know your background, how did you get to do what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'll share a little bit of my transformation journey, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the presentation. But my background, I grew up bleeding heart idealist. Always wanted to make the world a better place. Had a good Christian family upbringing, and I've been involved in the nonprofit world and ministry most of my life. And in 2004, I actually moved from the Dominican Republic to Florida, to St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm from Michigan originally. And I started a nonprofit and traveled the world working with a bunch of go-getters and do-gooders and served over 30 countries, trying to help people with various forms of poverty. And essentially in 2011, during my grad program, I began to get these seeds planted where I realized I was putting Band-Aids on a lot of social issues in the world that needed more sustainable attention, that needed a real partnership, long-term partnership. It's one thing to show up and sort of help stop the bleeding and help dig a well or build a school, but it's a whole nother thing to have a relationship, an ongoing relationship. And so I had this epiphany that businesses have the financial capital and the human capital to help fill in some of these gaps of society if they really thought through what their contribution to the world was, what their noble purpose is. And we'll talk a lot about noble purpose. So about 10 years ago, I did that for about 10 years. 10 years ago, I started what has now become Social Economic Enterprises. I wrote a book called Brand Evangelism. It's a best-selling book. It's about how to clarify and communicate your personal and organizational purpose. And so here I am today, happy to share with people about what it means to have a purpose-driven business, to integrate noble purpose in the way that you do business, and to just get clarity about what your values are, who you serve, what problem you're solving in the world. Because ultimately, when it comes to doing businesses, that's the main thing that anyone cares about is, how do you help me? So
how do you help me get to where I want to go? And I'm giving a little teaser there, because that's kind of the meat and potatoes of what you're going to be kind of dropping on us, how to do that. And for some that are more, I guess, hyper creative and have a narrative running in their head all the time, you're going to catch on this really quickly, and you'll want to pay attention to the nuances and the details, because it'll help you go from good to great. For those of us in the audience that have a little trouble, how to craft a story, or how to craft a narrative, or how to attract an audience in a more organic, authentic, story-based way, you're going to want to take every note you can. Maybe watch this replay twice and really dig in. So, Tim, with that, do we have any visuals to help wow our audience today and have some fun with that? Is that something that we can bring up as well?
we do. We do. So basically, I put together what I'm calling the brand journey framework, and it's the framework that's designed for profitable, purpose-driven brands. If you're just out to make money, I don't know if this is going to be that helpful, but the framework.
But it certainly will help you make money.
Yes, it certainly will help you make money, and that's the thing that that people forget. I just did a video on the 3 P's that, it's people, the planet, and profit. But without purpose, those other 3 kind of fall apart. And having that purpose is the key driver to focus in on the people that you want to help and serve, and the key driver behind why you want to make the planet a better place. And profit is only a byproduct of serving people well and solving big problems in the world. So that's always been my mantra, is that we're not trying to be, we're not just focusing on profit, but we're trying to solve the profitable solutions to the problems of people on the planet.
Come on, say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. So trying to come up with the profitable solutions to the problems of people on the planet. And profitable means that when you're solving a problem, you're going to get a big return for solving the problem. The bigger the problem, the more return. So just keep that in mind.
What does Dave Ramsey say? Some of the best certificates of appreciation are the ones with dead presidents' faces on them.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. So the who, where, why, what, and how is pretty straightforward. But the who times 2 is your identity. That's who you are, what you want to be known for. That's your values, your purpose. And identify means who it is that you're serving, making sure that you're clear about the kind of people that you want to work with, that share your values, that have similar vision, that you resonate with, that you can align with, that you want to promote. I mean, there's nothing worse than working with a bad client who's doing bad things that you're helping them do. You want to support people that share your values and are going in the same direction that you're going. It's just gonna feel better overall. The where is your vision. That is telling the story of what the future looks like as a result of the problem that you solve. So this is super important when it comes to your marketing and your messaging. Because like I mentioned, people care about the problem you're solving, but they also want a vision for what their life will look like at the end, the destination. The why is your noble purpose. Why is it that you do what you do? The what is the transformation journey. That's painting the picture, helping your audience understand that you know where they are, that you can sympathize or empathize with the challenges that they're going through. But you also have the authority to help them in this transformational journey. And so the transformation story is also your own story. So you have your own story of how you overcame something and now been impassioned to be able to help other people overcome or to achieve their goals or aspire to have these things. So having your own personal transformation story, like the one I shared about myself, and then this transformation journey that you help your clients with is also super important. So having that nailed down, and then the how that's the pathway. That's how we're getting to the destination. So the framework that we use to get people to where we want them to go, right? Or where they want to go. So know who you are. That's first and foremost, probably the most important thing. Know who you're guiding, know where you're going, know why you're going there, and know how to get people there. So this all speaks to sort of your self-awareness, awareness of the kind of people that you want to serve, the direction and the place that you want to take them, why it is that you want to take them there, how the world's a better place, the difference that you're making for them and the planet, or them and people, and then making sure they know, they can believe, they can trust that you're going to help them. You're going to be a good guide. So defining your brand, and I've talked about this multiple times in giver marketing, but your brand is a combination of your values, your purpose, your mission, your vision, and the aesthetic. So it's not just the aesthetic. A lot of people focus on the color scheme, the font style, the logo, and feel like this is my brand. But your brand is just not the way it looks and smells and tastes and all those things. It's really at the core of it. The most important thing is going to be your values, your purpose, your mission, your vision. So knowing who you are and starting here, and why I have a picture of a cat looking at a lion is thanks to AI, is because we want to project and not only project in the world, but tell ourselves, have the inner conversations about the person that we want to be and the way that we want to help serve others. And the better, the clearer that image is, how you want to show up in the world and how you want to help serve people, and the transformation that you want to make, or the change that you want to see happen in the lives of the people around you, that's going to be largely determined by the way that you see yourself. So having the right mindset, that's what this speaks to, is going to help you to be able to communicate to the right audience the kind of change that you're going to help them make. So understanding who your audience is has a lot to do with intentionality. So we have both these images. The hippo who's trying to teach an aerobic session to a bunch of meerkats has great intentions, but not going to serve the meerkats well. And the alligator who's attracted the right audience, but doesn't have the right intentions for their audience, is also, something that you can consider. I know that I've been a gazelle on multiple occasions, and I think that we all can relate to someone who's made promises and then you felt like you got devoured in the end. So anyway, be clear about who your audience is and what is your transformation story. So basically, your life before enlightenment. So my life as a do-gooder, just bouncing along, trying to do good, and then realizing that just trying to do good was not going to have as much impact if I was intentional about helping others do good. And so when I came to that point in my life, I had my hero's journey moment. And then now I'm doing the work of explaining to people how I help others on their journey to find, fulfill, and fund their noble purpose.
Tim, we were talking earlier about maybe an example of an organization or a company or even a conceptual journey that you've being able to take a brand on. Can you maybe share a quick example of how that turned out?
Yeah. So I love this example of a real estate company in Chicagoland that wanted to differentiate themselves. They wanted to be known of having a noble purpose of doing more in the world, of not just selling properties, but being more mindful of people who were in need. So more socially conscious, right? And I basically had taken my previous life in serving the world, and I married this opportunity with this real estate company, and we went to Costa Rica and actually built a home for a family that were living in a tin shack, literally in the side of a mountain. Just a terrible situation, and did it in conjunction with the local church that did all the vetting and had the ongoing relationship with them. And the transformation that happened in the lives of the people to be able to go and to serve, to give of themselves, and to do it with other people. They had that story to share with themselves. They had a connection with the community that they worked in. Of course, there's a spiritual connection that I believe happens. When you're giving of yourself, you're serving with others. You realize that life is so much more meaningful when you have something to offer and you're offering it, than it is just consuming for yourself. So they were able to, and I documented the entire experience, and we did video and photos, and they're taking this back. And when they're sitting down with clients now, they're not just talking about, hey, I got a piece of property to sell you, but they can talk about this amazing experience that they had and how they cared enough that their agency went and served in this community and helped this family and built this house for them. So it's just a great story of their own transformational journey and kind of the journey of that brand, that real estate company. So
I love that. I love that. And if you mix that with your traditional, untraditional, memorable kind of philanthropic story with a more traditional story and we also helped Betty Sue last week find a property that was very difficult to find. And she had certain needs with the schools or the this or the that. And you kind of mix those two, the philanthropic, inspiring story along with the other traditional testimonies. Now you got a lot of narratives going on in somebody's brain and heart and mind saying, hey, I don't know why I would choose any other company.
Mhm.
Like why they can help me on my pragmatics, but they also have a heart. Like they're a company with a heart. They have a
Mhm.
purpose, a mission behind every dollar I spend with them to help me solve my problem is going to go to helping others as well. So that I
Mhm.
just love that about you, Tim, and I just wanted to make sure that the audience knew that if they work with you, when they work with you, this is what they're going to be looking at, is how to enhance and elevate their
Mhm.
brand to that next level. And it produces revenue, not only short term, but long term. It
Mhm.
creates a narrative. It's like when you tell somebody about a movie, oh, yeah, I remember that part in that movie. It's like, oh, I remember that company. They're the ones that do this thing, right? And
Mhm.
so that becomes a long tail, just extremely powerful uh,
Mhm.
message and brand distinction. And so, anyway, I just wanted to
Mhm.
kind of ask you about that before we move on. What do we have next here? I love this.
Yeah. Well, it's all about building trust, and that's what we're doing. That's why we talk about our noble purpose, and that's what's going to attract the kind of people that we want to attract, which leads us to the hero of our story. The hero of the story is never going to be us. We don't want to be the hero of the story. We want our clients to be the hero of the story, or our employees to be the hero of the story, where we're investing in building into them and giving of our experience so that we're helping them to elevate joy and alleviate suffering and grow to become all that God wants them to be.
Yeah.
So the story is essentially our brand journey starts with a group of people who are trying to overcome many obstacles to reach a destination. So the group of people, that's our prospective clients, and they need a highly skilled, experienced guide who knows the way.
Yeah.
The guide can then give them the tools and the insights they need to reach their destination. And if they follow the instructions of the guide, they use the tools that they're given and remember why they're on this journey, because oftentimes the journey sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, there are a lot of things that keep us, the obstacles that
There's a
keep
lot
us.
of highs and lows, right? There's mountaintops and there's valleys. There's ditches and there's victories. There's all the different. It's like if you're wanting extreme stability and emotional stability, don't become an entrepreneur. Like that's not what happens. So this idea that you can kind of grab that story and infuse that into your journey and how wild and crazy and adventurous it is
Mhm.
just it's a privilege to even be able to craft that well and make that. It's almost like writing. It's like putting out into the world something that's going to have an effect on people, whether they buy something from you or not. Like they're going to be impacted.
Yeah, I like Myron Golden talks about how disruption always precedes intention. So it doesn't matter what intention that we have, you're always going to run into an obstacle that is going to disrupt you from moving forward. And if you keep that in mind and know that's just part of the process, then you're much more likely to break through that obstacle.
Come on.
So to
Love it.
continue on, they will have overcome, if they follow what the guide says, they'll overcome the obstacles and the challenges and joyfully reach their destination. But if they don't, it's another part of the story. They will continue to struggle, experience pain and suffering, and remain lost in the wilderness. So the reason, and this comes from Donald Miller's story brand framework, you want to talk about the benefits of working with of your client working with you, right? And so I always encourage people, when they're wondering how to develop their messaging, create two lists. The first is the benefits of the experience that they'll have with you, what their life will look like, how you will help them to overcome certain things. So you get them to sense or to feel what it means to achieve their goal, to get to where they want to go. And then the other side of the equation is, if you don't, imagine what it's going to be like to be lost in the wilderness, to continue to struggle, to have the pain, to be wandering around, to feel the anxiety, to be frustrated. So if you have these two lists, it's a great place. Now you can pull your messaging out, all your nurturing campaigns, they will come from a place of pain and a place of pleasure. And people honestly respond a lot more quickly to pain, unfortunately, but it makes sense, than they do to pleasure. So if you can really talk about what they're missing out on if they don't work with you, then that's going to help you to get your message across more
At
quickly.
least get you to the first part of the journey. At that point, the pain is so evident that it's almost like being in an ICU unit. We need to just get them a little bit more stable, and then we can start giving them some aspirational steps once
Mm-hmm.
they alleviate some of their initial pain. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that you brought that up.
Mm-hmm. So plotting the path, basically explaining the tools that we're talking about, a compass is your values. The values are what keep everyone going in the same direction on the same path. That is why values are so important for your own company, for your own business, and then also helping the people. If you're in the marketing space, you want to understand the values of your client, because if they are in alignment, then it's a good indicator you're most likely not going to be able to help them. Your vision is the destination, and we talked briefly about this before. Is that's a picture of the transformation that you're creating and cultivating for your audience. That's what utopia looks like. I worked with a marketing agency once that said, paint a picture of Paris. And I don't know why Paris was so sexy to them, but it's that unique, special a marvelous place that you're taking your client to, what the world will look like, what their life will look like, what their business will look like as a result of you guiding them there, right? Your noble purpose is a compelling reason. So that's your purpose, that's your why. That speaks to your values, why you do what you do, and hopefully will help you with alignment. The transformation message, both your own and that for your client, is your compelling message. That's a pitch to attract, engage, and inspire potential partners. So when you share that pitch, when you talk about your transformation story, people either resonate with it or like, oh, you're one of those, which I get a lot of that, which is fine. You want to work with the people you want to work with. You don't want to pretend for anybody. Your mission is your map. That's the plan to how to reach your destination, who you help, how you help them, why that's important. So making sure that your mission reads like a map and not like a destination or necessarily a purpose. And then the arrival. So the only thing that your audience really cares about is if you can help them get there. So focus on the destination. Don't overwhelm them with the mission. The process to getting someone someplace, people get overwhelmed, and then once they realize what's entailed, like if you ever worked with a really good trainer in a gym, they'd be crazy to tell you the process and the pain and the struggle and what it's going to take for you to lose those 20 pounds or whatever it is. So they just talk about the benefits of what life is going to be like, how you're going to feel about yourself, how better you're going to attract people and whatnot, whatever benefits, that you get from losing that weight. That's what you want to focus on. So
the payout, the payoff, the benefits, the results. What are we going to experience on the positive side of this mountain? Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so your offer is always going to be people plus the problem is your solution. This is your product. Your solution is your product. So if you think about, we were talking just in the what they call the back room there, before we started, about there's a lot of web designers in the marketing space, and what often happens when we introduce ourselves or we have on our LinkedIn page, I'm a web designer. Well, you're one of a bazillion web designers, but if you can think about your own transformation journey, think about your own values, think about where you came from, why you're a web designer, and what makes you unique in the way that you design. Now you're going to be able to craft the kind of people that you want to work with, that you want to help, because you have the language that's going to speak to that group of people, because you've been there. So they're going to be a reflection of where you were before you had your transformation, and now you're able to be more convincing and how you can help them on their journey to telling their story and their own transformation journey. So that's probably one of the biggest takeaways that you could have today, is think about your product, your offer, as being the problem that you're solving, instead of talking about what you do. Because people care less about what you do. They only care about the solution to the problem that they're struggling with.
I took a screenshot of this right here because I need to memorize this. I need to play this back in my, for our team meetings, and play this back for myself. Not only the mindset image and conversation you had before, like you need to be aware of who you are at a very deep level so that it can come out in the solution that you're going to eventually be solving for more and more and more people. But this kind of formulaic, easy peasy way to kind of remember and then get deeper with you is really powerful. People plus the problem equals the solution, which is your product or service, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you're bringing to the world needs to help people solve a problem. And whether you're raising venture capital, which many of us are involved in projects where you're raising tens of millions of dollars, or you're just a startup trying to figure out how to present your solution, your genius, your skill set, your superpowers to the world. Gosh, this is a great way to start. This is a great way to just get your mind right and really laser focused and take it to another level. Anybody who's watching this and says, "Oh, I got this all perfect," think again. There's always places for improvement. There's always places to be able to develop. So if you need to reach out to Tim Salmonson and ask more questions, this is the time. We're going to be giving away a free gift here in a few minutes. We're going to be having conversation with Tim. I have a couple of questions. Christine Dean might have a couple of questions. What else do you have for us today as far as goodies and nuggets and kind of landing the plane, Tim?
Yeah, this is the end of the presentation, and where I love to kind of challenge people to think on how you build your community. If you're truly a noble purpose or a purpose-driven brand with noble purpose, you are going to make your values very clearly known to the world. And it's your values that attract your tribe, but it's your noble purpose that unites your tribe. And I think that we all, if we're serious about building a legacy brand, we want to have a group of brand evangelists, which is the name of my book, who are raving fans, because not just what we do or what we sell, but because why we do it. And they're going to invite other people to be a part of your tribe because they just resonate so well with your values and why you do what you do. And I look at brands like what is it, Liquid Death, and it's a water brand, right? But they've done such a great job of uniting a tribe because they've taken something as mundane as water and turned it into something, a little
edgy.
Yeah, a little edgy. Exactly. And I don't know if they have a noble purpose, but I hear a lot of people talking about them and that they love that brand. I'm more aligned with brands like Tom's Shoes or Warby Parker glasses,
or Charity Water, or some of those. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yep.
So having a noble purpose is a lot like building a church, right? Your noble purpose is your gospel good news message. That's the good news that you're sharing with the world. And once you've clarified that, you're communicating that like a good evangelist would. You're connecting, you're building your church, you're building your community, you have your call to action, you have your connection. You have your contribution, which is like how you're serving people, missions and outreach and building trust and building rapport with your people. And then ultimately the call to action is like go into all the world and make disciples. And that's what it is to build a legacy brand.
So you just said something here, and I want to make sure and get to your free gift here in a minute, but you just said something about brand evangelists, raving fans, your brand fans, if you will. I love that, because the most expensive way to market is to a cold audience that has no idea who you are, why you're doing what you're doing. If you want to warm them up, then it gets less and less expensive as time goes on. But if you have brand evangelists, and that's a big part of your marketing strategy, that's a very good use of resources. Extremely good use, because they're long-term. They're not going anywhere anytime soon for the most part. They're all in. They're telling like 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000 people, not like one person every once in a while. If you're a referral-based business, which most healthy businesses are, if you're a referral-based business or organization of any kind, you need to talk to Tim, because if you can get raving fans going, then your marketing budget goes much further than if you were to say, oh, I just want to do another Google ad, or nothing wrong with the Google ad. You should probably incorporate your noble purpose right into those ads. But I'm just saying, like, if you don't build a foundation for the ability for people to become raving fans in this way, on that noble purpose kind of vibe, I don't know what you're like. What are you doing? Like you're wasting a lot of marketing dollars. So there's a little bit of pain there, Tim, for all of us there, because we've all spent dollars on advertising where we thought we were going to get all this results, but then we realized, oh, all we needed to do was go connect with our raving fans, or soon to be raving fans, and just and help them take some action that would really create more of a movement around our company or our brand or our project or our event. And I love the fact that you do that. Oh, here's your book right here. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, grab the book. Tell us more about this.
So the link, if you do the QR code, it's just to that same link that's there, sociallesson.com, Tim Salmonson. And it's basically like a link tree. It has links to the book, has links to our offer today, has links to all of my social media channels. So, you know, if you want to connect, that's the place to do it. Brand evangelism can be found at Amazon. And like I said, it's if you're trying to you want to develop a framework or need a framework for telling your story, it's about the 5 C's based on the Covenant brand. I call it Covenant brand strategy, which is a commitment to mutual success. You do not do business with anyone who you don't believe has your best interests at heart. They believe that you can help solve your problems, and they believe in you, and you need to then believe in them and help them solve that problem. That's the kind of relationship that a covenant's based on, as opposed to a contractual, which is one that lacks trust. The reason you need a contract is because you don't trust that they're going to do what they're going to do, and they don't trust what you're going to do. So I'm a covenant guy. Not that I've never had a contract, but
contracts are just another legal layer on top of the actual commitment. I love that you have this resource available here, Tim. So if you're watching this replay or live, please grab your phone, take a picture of that. It'll come up for you automatically. You can also reach out to Tim and say, hey, how do I get your book? How does that work? But just take a picture of this really quick while we're talking here for a second. And then, Tim, you also have some, there's more from Tim. Like what's the gift that we keep hearing about here?
So it's just it's a course based on the book, and it has the framework from the book in it, and the questions that are associated. Every chapter has associated questions with the content, but also some application next steps. So how you can begin to integrate. And for me, this is my passion. This is my mission in life, is to help people find and fulfill their noble purpose, their divine purpose, and to express and experience the unconditional love, gratitude, generosity, and abundant life that our Creator desires for each of us. So the process for integrating noble purpose into your business is there in the book, and it can be used for you individually as well as your organization. So you can think through, what is my noble purpose? What are my values? How am I connecting with myself, with others, with my Creator? This is the kind of process that that I go through.
Love it. And I'm sharing the bit.ly on the screen, but those who are watching in the comments, you'll see some version of this link, bit.ly/brand mini course, all lowercase, bit.ly/brand mini course will get you some goodies from Tim. So with that, Tim, let's bring the slides out of the room, and let's bring our own Christine Dean back into the room so we can ask you some questions that maybe some of the audience has been asking. Some of us are just wondering ourselves, and we're just trying to dig a little deeper on this conversation. My question has to do with uh, the journey, the hero's journey, the story. But Christine, do you have anything before I jump into that kind of that question?
I love the focus that you have on this, Tim, right? It's after my own heart, right? How can we do more good in the world? And I think we have more of an expectation of this nowadays, don't we? We don't just the business sells something, we buy it. That used to be okay in the old school days, right? You could just buy widgets and everybody was happy, right? But for businesses that haven't really thought about this before, right? They've always just been in business. The idea of creating a noble purpose. Any suggestions on where they should get started with that?
Buy the book.
The book has all the recipes and the pieces, and then you can help them make the pie later.
Yeah. Follow me on any of the social media channels. I'm trying to get out several shorts. Right now, all I can commit to is just a 60-second blurb and talk about, different ways in which you can build your brand and better yourself. Those are the things that I care the most about. Those are the things I talk about. So starting with getting clear about the person that you want to be, that living your, I just signed up for a course with Dr. Benjamin Hardy on, what's the name? He's got a book coming out. And so this program is based on rapid transformation. I think that's the name of the book, coming out at the end of the year. And the premise of it is just focusing on the 20% of the things that are going to make 10 times difference in your life instead of the 2 times difference. He wrote a book called that, 10x is better than 2x. But this rapid transformation is taking the time to live like you are your future self today. So that future self exhibits these character traits, is this kind of person, loves people well. I mean, for me, I have a very clear picture of the person that I believe God wants me to be. So aspiring to be like that person is something I need to think about, meditate on, and reflect on on a regular basis, and being grateful for the journey that I'm on, so that, I'm only expanding in the world instead of bouncing along, being frustrated, being anxious, like most of us are.
You're a lifelong learner, Tim. Every time I talk to you, you're taking a course, you're getting mentorship, you're hanging with Myron Golden, you're doing different things. And so I commend you for that. And that's a great segue into the question that I have about story. There's some people that when they first start, they need to practice tell me, maybe I'm not thinking about this right, but is it okay to practice the hero's journey narrative in your own head and share it a little bit with maybe your beginning audience or your core team, like where you came from, and then eventually graduate into where, okay, now you're the guide? Because I'm seeing a lot of people. I have a little confusion on that. Like, how do I had a guide, and then I became the hero in the story, and then now I want to be the guide, but how do I make that shift in the narrative?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what I call the virtuous cycle. So basically, what's happening is, and I appreciate your comments about my growth journey, because I am very committed to that, because I care. I know that as I get better, the people around me get better. And this is the journey you're talking about, is as I allow people to speak into my life and have the humility to receive from them and to learn from them, then I become wiser, and I take my wisdom, and now I can share my wisdom with other people, and I'm able to solve bigger problems. Essentially, that's the direction that we're moving as entrepreneurs. is the ability to be able to solve bigger problems. Because the bigger problems, I think we all appreciate, enjoy an increased paycheck, a big payoff
Yeah,
from
we
being
feel
able to
more
solve these bigger
appreciated,
problems.
man. We got a lot of
Yeah,
appreciation going on. Yeah.
exactly. A lot of appreciation. Exactly. So, so being able to acknowledge, I mean, maybe we're not a guide to the person that we're not ready to really take someone to the mountaintop, but we can choose a destination that is better than where someone might be. And you've gotten to that
Oh, that's a good
destination.
point. Because you might not be the ultimate guru type guide that
Yeah.
gets you to the into the clouds,
Yeah.
but you could definitely take them at least 2 or 3 steps further than when maybe where they are. Great
Yeah.
perspective, Tim. I appreciate that. Christine, do you have any other questions for Tim before I start firing off?
Oh, what was bouncing in my head the whole time was like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? As it applies to business, as it applies to self growth, right? And I'm thinking businesses at first, they're just trying to keep the lights on and survive, right?
Mhm.
And then you get to that point where you can sit back and go, oh, okay, I've reached a certain level of success, but now you can start thinking about that higher thought process, like what's your noble purpose, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's never too late to go on that journey, whether it's personally or putting your business to work towards that noble journey. So I love what you got us thinking about, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah. I actually do a talk about Maslow and Viktor Frankl, because Maslow ends his pyramid at self-actualization. And my contention is that it's not enough to be self-aware. Self-actualization is knowing who you are, who God made you to be, what your gifts, talents, and incorporating your experiences into really knowing you. That the real meaning and purpose in life is to now take that and live a transcendent life, which is what Viktor Frankl talks about. Now you're taking what you know about yourself and using those skills and gifts to serve other people, to help other people on their journey, which is what we've been talking about.
I could see another book from you, Tim, The Transcendent Organization.
If it hasn't
Yeah.
already been written.
Come on. I like this thought process. Good question, Christine. Tim, what should people expect when they work with you? I've worked with you, so I know a little bit, I know some of what to expect and the results that we've seen, but what can people expect? Let's say they're making a good living, they have a nice developing brand, but they feel like they're maybe in the sea of a lot of other companies. They're offering a product or service that kind of feels more like a commodity than something that's special. What should they expect if they were to work with you?
Yeah. Pretty much everything. The reason I wrote the book was, one, to make it available, make this process available to the world. And it's essentially the essence of the book, getting clarity about what your values are, what your mission vision is, getting that transformation message nailed down so that when people ask you about yourself, you're not talking about, oh, I'm a lawyer and I help people with lawyer stuff. People will just forget about you. So how to become remarkable in a very difficult market to be remarkable. I think
So you're going to stand out. Basically, the result is they're going to stand out. They're already solving problems. It's just a matter of them standing out and being someone that can guide their clients, their prospects, their power partners that much more, because they have this super juice that kind of comes behind them from a branding standpoint and from a communication standpoint. I love that. And I know that you've nudged us that direction more and more and more as time goes on. And I personally appreciate that. So I'm a case study. If anybody wants to reach out to me and say, hey, who's the Tim Salmonson guy? Like, is he the real deal? The answer is yes, but I can tell you why. And as we work with Tim, we tend to get more and more clear on purpose, mission, taking us from a group that just it does some good things in the world to like oh no, we're a movement. Like we're not going away. Even if Christine and I were to take some time, Christine with her dude, me with my lady, we were to go take some time and refresh and just kind of reset and do some different things. We've done this for a month at a time. The movement still works. It still moves because of some of the work that Tim has done with us and a few others as well. But Tim has really been a catalyst for us to be able to do that. So I appreciate that on a personal level. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look up Tim Salmonson, spelled Salmonson. Check him out on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the different channels. Grab his book. If nothing else, give him a thank you for doing this presentation. Grab the book as a little token of appreciation, and it'll bless your life just by grabbing the book. Give him a 5-star review to make sure that it's really popping on the search engines and everything properly, and all the book reviews will help inspire others to be able to do that. So as a thank you to Tim today, let's go grab his book, make sure and give him a good review, and then that way it'll really create some positive momentum. Hey, marketing for good. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. Well, thank you again, Tim. Really appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure.